she's sounding good.
That's heaps sick, eh?
Hey all, hope you're doing well. Another rainy day in Brisbane. I'll just show you what I'm up to today. Kind of repairing the mistakes of the last install, but I picked up an oversized sway bar out of a Mark II, or I think it was a Mark I race car that was being parted out. An old mate had put a new front end into it, so we didn't need any of his Jag parts anymore. So the old sway bar was 7/8, so about 20 mils thick, and this one here is a full inch thick, and I tell you, it's made of much tougher stuff. Now I actually installed this a couple of weeks ago, and the difference is night and day. It's incredible. It tightens up the front of the car like you wouldn't believe, and it, dare I say it, it's a little bit sporty. But sadly, what I did, some guy long before me has had a go at it, played around with those swing arm mounting bolts and has done a little bit of damage to one of them, and I felt like I was about to strip out one of these mounting bolts here, and sure enough I came back to it and it had pulled out a little bit in the space of a couple of 100 kilometres. So to put this one to bed, I actually didn't have a tap and die set. I've never really played around with these before, but today's the day to do it. So I went down to the bolt shop with one of my old bolts, and he's handed me out a what size are we here? 7/16 bolt. So previously it was a 3/8 by 24, and I'm putting a 7/16 by 20 in there. And I'll show you just under the car how we're looking. So if I grab, all of them were on the piss. If I grab another bolt here, so these are the mounting bolts here, these two. This one here was the problem, this one. But if I grab this one, so I haven't screwed with this one at all. I did try chase out the threads with the 3/8 setup, but it just didn't help. So this one here is a 3/8 that I both repaired the thread on the bolt itself, as well as the thread internally in the chassis rail. And if I go halfway, which is about where these sit, look at that. Not happy with that at all. Now, first time playing around with taps and dies, and bloody hell I was nervous that I'd snap this thing off in there. But I just finished one of them, and I tell you, it's actually pretty good. I was a bit nervous that inside of this hole, let me try and get that to focus. Yeah, there we go. I was a bit nervous that inside of this hole I wouldn't have enough meat to tap out, but this has worked exceptionally. I'll tell you, there's no play at all in there. I think I selected about a 75% thread depth, knowing that this is pretty soft steel anyway. They probably would have called it hard back in the day, but no, it's very, very soft. Made it through, didn't fuck it up. What I'm going to have to do now, so I got these, I'll just come back out again and show you guys. So we got these little mounting plates. You got this one and this one on top, give about a 1/4 inch standoff. Then you've got this little bracket here that sits on top of this and squishes it into the chassis, and you've got 4 mounting points there, plus the 2 on your lower control arms. What I'm going to have to do now is just drill these out to the 7/16 bolt size. Annoyingly, I forgot to grab split washers to match the size of this, but I'll just put them all in anyway. Use a healthy dose of anti-slip and whatever else. Put them in. Hopefully this is going to work really well. I'm really happy with how this is shaping up, so I'll get it in and see you guys soon. Alright, I realise I may be about to run into an issue here because I forgot to get a drill bit wide enough to clearance this. I've got, the fuck is that, 25th imperial measurements are a piss take. I really struggle to take these seriously, but 25th 64ths, that is the exact diameter that I would have needed in normal people measurements. That's 9.92 millimeters. That's the diameter that I needed to collect 75% thread depth boring it out, but I actually need to oversize this to make sure that I'm not actually threading through these themselves. I'm only looking to clamp these onto the chassis rail. I know somewhere in the house I have a 12mm drill bit, which would give me 0.3 larger than I'd like it to be, but that would get us out of trouble today. Hopefully I've got that somewhere. I know I saw it the other day. See how I go. Alright, I found a drill bit, so this is what we've ended up with. Super happy with that. I'd have to wonder why they didn't make it this size originally. Bit of a pissy little bolt, isn't it? Alright, let's try and get it in. Alright, apologies for the cramped conditions, but this is a great chance to have a look at the drop links in the car. So you can see that this one here is nice and firm. Bushes are in great shape, absolutely no radial play, which is a big one. I'll show you this one though. I noticed a bit of a click in the car as you turn into right-hand corners, and this is what's causing that. So you got a bit of radial play there, as well as being very sloppy this way, but radial play is the big one. Could hear that maybe. So I'm gonna have to look for a new bush for this, but chuck it back together now. This will take a while to get here. So yeah, cool. So this is what we've ended up with, and super happy with this, minus the split washers underneath here obviously, but I'll pick some up tomorrow maybe, but these are in there super tight. I'm really happy with this. The drop link as well, it ended up being this part here had loosened up enough that it had obviously been wearing away the bolt for over a long period of time, so I've just chucked a new bolt in here. Feels good. I will drop the car down on the ground before I tighten up this properly, but yeah, I think we're all done here. Looking real good. I'll just add a brief review on that anti-roll bar. As I said, I've had that in the car for a couple of 100 kilometres before I did that today. That is one of the best things I've ever done to that car. And I've done a lot of stuff that I don't put online at all. So I paid $350 for it. I'd kept it in my mind that I'd wanted one for a while. I paid $350 for that, second hand from a fella down on the Gold Coast. And knowing what I know now, I wouldn't hesitate to pay full price for a new one if I had to. I was very lucky with the cheap one, but brand new, they're $800, and the difference is that good that I wouldn't hesitate in paying that. Knowing what I know now, the ride in a straight line remains the same. If you should be familiar with what these things do, but in the corners, it just changes the car completely. It wakes it up like I wouldn't believe. So yeah, can recommend. I think that the issues that I had that led to today were, just car related. I wouldn't hesitate in putting that in through a stock, mounting bracket. But yeah, recommended. Think about doing it to your car. See you guys later.